long stretch like this since the last win to be that decisive in those closing minutes? What led to rising to that occasion?
Grit, desperation a little bit, togetherness, and just a collective will to win. We were tired of losing, and it showed in our performance, not just at the end of the game, but even like first half we were okay and we hung in, and there were times where it looked like we were just kind of in the game, but not really in the game. And came out in the second half and we just played so good. I mean, Christian Wood this is the best game I've ever seen him play. And I was with him in Charlotte and obviously with him for 2 years here. And he was so good as far as like, it wasn't even his scoring. He had 20 in the first half, but it was like driving kicks that he was making. It was defensive plays that he was making. It was fighting Steven Adams that was so hard. And he did all of it. And the other guys fed off of him. So one of the main reasons we won that game was Christian. But obviously Scoot and Jalen made huge plays as well. And our defense in the second half was immensely better than it was in the first half. My message to the group at halftime was we have to take care of the turnovers and we have to take care of the paint. And we did that in the second half. We only had 3 turnovers in the second half, and I believe they were 13 for 23. Yeah, they were 23 for 33 in the first half and 13 for 33 in the second half in the paint.
Coach, there have been games where Jalen and Kevin have played well, but for a game like this, it was bad. So they have to play well together. How does that build their confidence?
Yeah, it should build all of their confidence. For all 3 guys to play well, at least score that well, but even on the defensive end, for all of them to be that connected. We haven't had a game like this where we've had, I'm sure Sean knows somewhere, but whether we've had these guys all score 20 plus or 24 plus together in the same game, but they were all looking for each other. We were playing with pace, we were playing with purpose, and it all very much started on the defensive end for all of them.
What does it say about Kevin Porter Jr.'s maturity and the fact that he had a big 19 in the third quarter and then didn't like go into the fourth and try to like force things? He just kind of let things happen naturally, went back out there and conducted, got other guys involved, let Jalen step up down the stretch as well.
Yeah, it was great. I didn't realize he had that many in the third, but he is not a selfish player at all. He just wants to he'll come in and make the simple play or make the plays for his teammates. And I thought in the first half, he was getting into the paint and not looking to score. He was looking to pass, and we were turning the ball over or something else. But he was a little bit more intentional about scoring, which opened it up for everybody else. And him finding that balance is a big step as far as his progression as a point guard.
We've asked you a lot about individual improvement over the last few weeks or so. What's the value, though, of when you have a game like this where the group shows improvement together?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. It's for you, those games where there's individual improvement for a couple guys and then the rest of the guys are mad aren't great. But when everybody contributes to a win and feels good leaving the locker room with whatever they did is important for morale. It's important for us going forward, and it's important just for the organization as a whole, because I believe in this group. And I was telling them before the game that they had the Phoenix-Milwaukee game on, and that was such a high-level game. And I was telling the team, like, we're going to get to these high-level games like this with both teams. I remember, like, Middleton, when he was young, he wasn't even getting in the games. He was, like, working out 3 hours before games and, getting DMPs and inactive, wearing suits, and he's playing in these huge games now in both teams. I think Phoenix had a 19-win year, and Milwaukee had a 15-win year, and they both grew and they all got older and better, and they became, two of the best teams in the league. So that was one of my messages to the group before the game is we can get there. It might take us a little while, but we have to stay the course and stay with who we are and what we do well.
How much does it help when you have a game like this, so all these things that you've been preaching and teaching all year, you can show like, see, this is what it looks like.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. You get tired at times of trying to teach from, losses. And there have been a few games where I've been so proud of the guys and we just didn't win them, whether it was the Utah game or the Phoenix game or the Clipper game, where, we played so well and well enough, but just not well enough or the score didn't indicate that we won and played well. So for us to do it against a very good team, it makes it good.
Coach, you talk about, getting this team to get there till they can be on that level. It's like Phoenix and Milwaukee. What do you think this team needs to do, especially with Jalen Green, Christian Wood, and Kevin Porter Jr.? What do you think they need to do in order to sustain this level of play for, weeks at a time?
Yeah, it's experience. It's learning from it's learning from successes and failures. It's summers, it's weight room, it's, games like tonight, but it's also games like the other night when we didn't play so well. So it really is very much experience and going through it and getting better as a result.
What would you say about how y'all defended Ja Morant today? The team in general, but Ja specifically. I know he got 20-something, but still seems like y'all were kind of competitive whenever he was in the lane.
Yeah, he's really hard to guard, obviously, and he is relentless when he's going downhill and getting into the paint. And there were a couple parts of it. There was KPJ's defense on him, fighting through all of that. There was Christian and Alpi in the paint making it hard on him when he was shooting those little floaters. It was Josh Christopher pitching in and giving some good minutes on him. So it was a team effort, and we were definitely aware of him trying to get downhill and trying to play in the paint. But we also knew that they had played last night, and we had a day off yesterday, and we wanted to keep our foot on the pedal because we know how it is to play a back-to-back, and it can be tough.
What about Alpi and the way he said the last game, he said, I've always had to fight. How he's in there trying to battle with the big Stephen Adams, and just the kind of grit that he brings to the floor.
Yeah, it's again for him. It's experience. It's Stephen Adams is probably the strongest guy in the league, and fighting against him and finding ways to get around him or finding ways to keep him off the glass are invaluable lessons for Alpi. So although like the scoring and rebounding and all that weren't high for him, he played a good game. He played a solid game. And again, these moments are learning moments for all of our 20-year-olds, but also for our older guys and our group as a collective.
I'm sorry, you mentioned at halftime about cutting turnovers down, and you guys did a good job of that. How do you coach that, especially with a young team? Like, what is just the challenge of that? Trying to just make sure that they, especially knowing how well you guys play if you do cut the turnovers.
Yeah. Sometimes it's because we're too unselfish at times, and we're getting in and we can finish, and we're looking for a teammate. Sometimes it's spacing. Tonight, I thought that we were just a little bit careless and could have been spaced a little bit better. But the one thing that happened in the first half that didn't necessarily happen in the second half, and I told them this at halftime, was when somebody picks up the ball and they don't have anywhere to go, someone has to come get it. Like, we can't just stand and look at them. And that happens to us during little stretches during the game, and it happened to us in the first half. So When someone picked the ball up in the second half, there was the next action. There was a pass. There was a dribble handoff. I mean, not dribble handoff, but like a handoff. There was something, and there has to be something in order for us to limit those moments where we're just standing, watching a guy die with the ball in his hands.
We'll take one on Zoom. Mark Berman.
Stephen, best win, biggest win, most satisfying win. Any of those words describe? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I would say this is the best I've seen Christian play. So that's the best part. I don't know if this is the best win or the most satisfying win. I would say the win at Utah was a really good win, a road win against a very good team. But there were some really good parts to this one. I mean, Jalen down the stretch, the little ISO step back to his left, that was great. Kevin's play down the stretch was great. And then Christian Wood, his ISO defense where he blocked the three, which was a huge play. And Jay Sean tracking down that rebound when he got basically shoved was good. So there were some great plays, but as far as like best or whatever, I would say this is the best Christian Wood has played.